So I've been practicing something that I was not really aware of what I was doing. So it was very natural skill, but I've realized I was doing the trance speaking, really helping people. Yeah. So this is also, you know, something that I really want to keep developing, and mediumship is like, yeah, definitely my thing, and I'm like amazed by it. And you know, I help people recently where they've been grieving for a really long time, and just by the message that they get, their life really change. You know, you can see how they are relieved when they are leaving the session. You know, it's like if you'll make a photo before and after, it's like a different person. 6 or 8 weeks of like more soulful life. So I will give people like tasks to do, you know, visualization boards, and helping them so they can call me anytime during the week or whatever they're going through. And beautiful things happen during that as well, you know, people changing their jobs, you know, entering amazing relationships, you know, many things. Like the world has opened, I discovered the new world, and I'm just enjoying it a lot.
Welcome to this new episode, and today I am here with Joanna. How are you, Joanna?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good indeed. Thank you for coming. So Joanna is a spiritual counselor. First of all, I'd like to ask you, what is your story in life?
How long did you say this interview is for? I think my story is very similar to the story that you played the main character of in the musical, you know? That's my story,
cool.
Really. So I think from a business world to the healer's world. But the real story is that I always been this way. But I didn't really have anyone to teach me or to tell me what to do. So I always seen or hear or feel more than most of my friends and family, but I didn't have anyone to talk to. So most of the people would be afraid of the things like this, especially in Poland when I come from. So yeah, so I learned to be normal for most of my life. And yeah, I think I mastered that skill.
Very good, yes.
And then, yeah, one time in my life, I met the right people, and then they've seen in me what I couldn't see at that time, and then they helped me to really discover my full potential. And today I'm living towards my full potential, and I really enjoy that. And the motto is really pass it on, because I went all the way from the pain to empowerment, and now I really want to help people to really do the same, you know, to really empower people, and that's my purpose. That's what I really want to do. So by really, you know, working on myself, developing myself, and doing lots of work in spiritual world at this moment in time, and developing my mediumship skills. I really want to help people to tap into their potentials as well.
So you mentioned this word mediumship, and I think we're going to have time to go into it. But first of all, you mentioned the fact that you were sort of brought up in a conventional sort of, you know, family environment.
Yes.
And you, from an early age, you had some sort of feelings or some sort of sensations or connections that were not really easy to explain in a conventional kind of space. Is that right?
Yes. So I would say ghosts. I was unable to wash my face for most of my life because I was afraid every time when I closed my eyes and used the water, open my eyes, and then in the mirror I could just see all those different things, which no one told me to really you know, just accept or see or be curious about it. It was all about being afraid of it, you know. So I did. I was really afraid of everything. It's quite funny actually, because I even invented my own language. Imagine, I was writing in my own language for many, many years, because I wouldn't even trust anyone to share, you know, my own experiences that I was going through.
So you were writing your experiences on paper using a language that you created from scratch, is that right? With
Yes.
like, because you're Polish, so with some Polish characters? Or?
Actually, it was very, very Nordic characters. Even I didn't know anything about runic alphabet or anything like that. Most of the letters I invented, let's say, I don't know even, was very, very similar to runes, to Celtic kind of, yeah.
Wow, that's already quite something, right? That's amazing. Okay. So you said that at some point you couldn't even sort of wash your face, because if you close your eyes in front of a mirror, then you open them again.
Yeah.
Then you would see things in the mirror.
Yes.
What would you see?
You know, there will be some kind of messages, but you will be some kind of faces or, you know, shapes and forms and many, many things I wouldn't understand, because, you know, I was not capable of, I suppose. And I even didn't try it, because, you know, the world at that time, and especially in Poland, he was like afraid of those things, very superstitious, you know. You know, I was thinking I'm seeing something really bad, so I better, you know, don't do that. So I was running away and begging, please, can you know, leave me alone and all of this. So I was not even interested in that kind of relationship or developing that, because I was completely afraid of it. So, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah, and do you remember what age did you start sort of experiencing these?
I think from the beginning. I even remember when I was, I think, 3 years old or something. One day when I was just playing with some ants, you know, and I really loved, so the ant will be like, start walking on me, blah, blah, blah. And then my mom will be coming to the room, and then she couldn't really see a person anymore, because it was like, I was like covered in ants, completely covered in ants, and enjoying myself, you know, doing that. So they didn't hurt me, but for my mom it was like,
Scary.
what is this, scary, you know, what is. So yeah, so she also said, you know, you cannot do the things like this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I've learned, you know, really not to explore those skills anymore, you know. I've learned to just understand what's good, what is acceptable, what's okay, what's not. And that's how I live most of my life.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you had this gift, so to speak, and then something that other people could not really relate to. And then you decided, okay, this is something bad that I have, so I want to have a conventional lifestyle. So you went on and you went to school and university. Is that right?
Yes. So I just switch it off. I mastered that skill to just be completely disconnected. So I knew exactly how to disconnect myself, you know. So yeah, being disconnected, going to school, having very, very good notes, going to the university. But I still was interested. I went to the university. I finished teacher training college when I was in Poland, and then I finished my master's degree in research methods in psychology in UK,
Okay.
in England. And so I've always been interested in psychology, you know. Psychology, at that time, I didn't go that much into parapsychology or, you know, abnormal psychology. I was more about business psychology, work psychology, a little bit abnormal. But I also was amazed by a module called suggestion and suggestibility, which was actually hypnosis as well. So till now, I'm doing that as well. So.
I'll be so interested. Suggestion and suggestibility. I mean, from the media, from narratives, from so many things. And also you say through techniques of hypnotherapy, eh?
Yes, yes. So, so when I finished the studies and I finished psychology, I experienced different therapies. You know, so I've been, I had few months of CBT, you know, and experiences how, or like psychoanalysis and all those different things. But to be honest with you, even though I have all those skills, maybe there was some change, but not like a huge change in me. I still would be having the habits that I had, and I mastered all those habits basically, I smoked cigarettes for like 20 years, I think. And I love my red wine and all of this, and enjoying parties with my friends. And I even didn't know what I was doing was disconnecting myself, For me, it was fun, I really enjoyed that. And yeah, so using the traditional therapies and all that psychology, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying for me, it was not really working, and it didn't really make a huge change in my life, even knowing all of this. And only when I start looking into alternative psychology and looking into hypnosis, I met amazing people, and I got a hypnosis myself, and I stopped smoking with one session.
Amazing.
And I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I want to learn more. And then I've learned, so I did. So now I'm actually helping people to stop smoking using the same. It's called interactive hypnotherapy.
Interactive hypnotherapy. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you are.
That's the one when the change can happen instantly within, if people are ready for the change, of course. But yeah, so that was amazing for me because, when I thought about years of therapy and then God knows what the results are there, and actually having an instant change, for me it was like, okay, that makes sense. I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining. So yeah, so I keep developing that skill. And I love it, seeing the change in people and how, free they are after that is beautiful.
You mentioned at some point you met people that sort of brought you back to these gifts or these abilities that you had as a child, and you had throughout your life, but you didn't cultivate.
No.
Actually, you repressed. Can you tell us the story there?
I'm actually writing the book about that.
Oh.
So I started it, and yeah, because it's many people. It's difficult to really combine it, but there are many people that seen the potential, seen the skill in me, and they really told me. They did, you can call it spiritual assessment if you like, just by looking at me, and they knew where is the potential. Some of them would be thinking I'm already living into that potential, so they would be treating me as someone who already knows, when I was like not even aware of what they're even talking about. So that was really interesting. But yeah, many people, I think, what was really like the opening? I think the opening for me, the biggest one, I think, when I didn't have any more doubts anymore, was when I come to Bangkok. And I came here on my own because the company that I was working for in London, they wanted me to help them to open the office in Bangkok and to establish like a technical function there, which is managing, doing the job, employing people, training them. Corporate stuff. And so I came on my own to Bangkok. And, I felt quite lonely and all of this. And I managed to find an amazing psychic medium called Debbie Craig. And I asked for a session. And I went there for the tarot reading. And she connected with one of my really good friends that is on the other side, Eric. For me, it was like absolutely obvious it was him, because she even changed her accent and she started talking like him, And for me, it was like, wow. And the message that I got and everything around it was like, wow, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, so then I didn't doubt that the other side exists anymore, because it was so real for me and so obvious, and I was part of that experience. So whatever she was saying to me, every single word was resonating with me, So that was, I think that was the beginning of that. Okay. And then I met another psychic medium and hypnotherapist, and Anthony Augustine, who is actually he developed the interactive hypnotherapy and that stop smoking thing that I'm doing. And I met many wise women and wise men and shamans, and it's like, you know, the world or the universe will be dropping those people in front of me. Yeah.
So basically these are people that are able to get you into an altered state of consciousness, or they get themselves into an altered state of consciousness and sort of channel information from a different reality. Or how can you explain it?
Yeah, this is always challenging when we try to explain something that is not really touchable. And
you need to experience it directly.
Yes.
That would be the best.
So that is a little bit difficult, but I think you know, there are many people that are really into it and trying to explain that. I've recently been in Arthur Finlay's college, just outside of London in Stansted. And this is a beautiful college for spiritual and for mediumship. And they there for a long time. They really look like Hogwarts, you know. It's like a really interesting college. And over there, you have, you know, one of the most amazing mediums that exist in the world, and they do the evidential mediumship there. So they really show you, like, sometimes they work in tandems. So you have person that is painting, whoever is coming from the other side and painting their, like drawing the face. The other one is telling us the message from that person, and then, you know, in the room you can have like 30 people or 50, and for me, you know, no one knew me, no one knew how my grandma looks like or whatever that was, and then I can see the woman painting the face of my grandma and the other one telling me the message of exactly my grandma, you know, like, so that was, you know, very amazing. And
so basically this woman was painting the face of your grandmother?
Yes.
Without having met your grandmother ever?
Yeah, that's awesome, right?
And you recognize your grandmother immediately?
Yes, but I couldn't say I recognize her because it's evidential mediumship. So they need to give you evidence first for like 10 minutes or longer. And then only when 100% is correct and resonates with you, then you can put your hand up. And you can say, this is my grandma.
So that's what happened. And then you yourself can sort of do medium work.
Yes, I'm developing that skill. I always been doing the trance speaking really, but you know, I was not aware of the how do you say, theory behind it. So I've been practicing something that I was not really aware of what I was doing. So it was very natural skill, but I realized I was doing the trance speaking really, helping people. Yeah. So this is also, you know, something that I really want to keep developing, and mediumship is like, yeah, definitely my thing, and I'm like amazed by it. And you know, I help people recently where they've been grieving for a really long time, and just by the message that they get, their life really changed. You know, you can see how they are relieved when they are leaving the session, you know. Is like if you'll make a photo before and after, is like a different person. Energetically, it's a huge shift, you know, because it's like something is really, you know, shifted, something really clicked, has changed. And it's happening for those people as if it happened to me as well, you know. When I went to Debbie and Eric came, the message that he got for me was like mind-blowing. It was like life-changing for you know, for sure, 100%.
And what if the message is very negative, though? Is it possible?
There are no negatives.
Okay.
No.
So
no. Well, I haven't experienced any, but you know, I'm not going to say only that is true. But you know, I feel the other side is very supportive, and very you know, it's like, you know, they really want us to do well. But our purpose is not to really spend too much time there, because actually we came here in this body, and of course we should use the guidance and make sure we can help people to heal and whatever, and to use this connection and this relationship for sure, but not to spend most of your life there, because you're going there anywhere. You're going to spend eternity there, so no need to spend too much time there, you know. But yeah, to really be able to have this relationship and to help the other people, I feel this is like, wow, you know, this is my why, to really keep doing what I'm doing and developing these skills. Yeah.
And of course, you know, people, if they can have closure with lost ones, or sort of support, even a spiritual connection with somebody that was so important in their lives and now is not there anymore, right?
Yeah.
I can see the psychological value of it. And also I interviewed a gentleman a while back called Alan, who's a spiritualist, and he spent 30 or 40 years, I think, learning about the afterlife, you know, and studying the afterlife across all kind of like esoteric and sort of metaphysical literature, and more importantly, experientially as well, you know. So like directly through altered state of consciousness, etc. Which, you know, is quite a pursuit. I think you have to be very predisposed, you know, and have some sort of gift opening towards something like that. But there are people that do it, and you are one of those, is that right?
It looks like it is, yes.
Cool.
Yes, but it's, you know, for me, it's like I'm like all-rounder. I'm the person that is like doing many different things, because that keeps my mind really entertained. If I would be doing just hypnosis, I would be bored, you know. So for me, it's like I do love that, but I also love another altered state of consciousness, and do the trance writing and trance speaking and trance healing, and you know, developing the mediumship skills as well, which, you know, they're huge. You know, it's so many different things that you can really experience. But at the moment, I think what I enjoy is learning the philosophy of the spirit, really, you know, because when you're developing that relationship with them, you can ask them anything, you know. You can ask them about protection, you can ask them about relationships, you can ask them about what's material and what's spiritual, and how they need to work together. And you know, and you get those messages through trance writing or trance speaking, and then they are like amazing, you know. So for me, like, the world has opened, I discovered the new world, and I'm just enjoying it a lot. You know?
Of course. So these are experiential sort of, you know, experiences that you had directly.
Yes.
And it's difficult to know exactly how what you call the afterlife or the other place look like, right?
Yes. Well, maybe for some people not. I'm just talking about my experience. But you know, even the spiritual union, when they started, they've been. The reason why they even started it, I think, was, I don't remember the name of this guy, I think it was Dominic State. And he was a gentleman, and he was a medium, and he wanted to go and visit his daughter, and Estelle, I think. And then he decided to, the transport he chosen was Titanic. So he never really arrived to give her the message or whatever. And then, so what's happened was, because he was medium here, so he knew that people like him exist. So when he went on the other side, he kind of found someone who could have a skill to give his message to his daughter. It was very particular, it was a very important message. But there is a book about it, so you can read the book, so I don't spoil it. But so he found someone, and the lady that had this skill was in France. So she channeled, and she channeled, I'm not sure even if that's a good word, people use it for many things, but it's more like she did, let's say, trance writing. And she wrote this message, and for Estelle, for his daughter, but it's in French. So then someone read this and then decided to translate it into English. And there's a whole story, you know, you can Google it and read it. But someone translated it into English. Then this manuscript landing in front of the door of best friends of Estelle. And then once they got this manuscript, they knew exactly that this is about her and her father. So they actually physically brought it for her because they knew this is the message for her. So, you know, so if you really think about that, there is a huge, like, mesmerizing intelligence, you know, that is really doing that. We don't even know sometimes, you know, what part or role we play in all of this, but, you know, if you really think about it, it's like, so yeah. So for us to understand it, I don't know, you know, we can do our best. But I know on the other side, we have all those Einsteins and all those different people that, you know, are there, and they're probably doing their best over there too. So, you know.
Well, you know, if you go beyond the mind and body and you start acknowledging the fact that there might be a spirit, a soul, a whole new realm of knowledge or sort of sensations and speculations come opening to you. And
yeah.
And then, you know, there is lots of literature, of course. Even like things like occultism, for instance, you know, that is very ancient, Western style occultism. Most people don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You got a long Wikipedia page, very long one, explaining what occultism is, you know.
Yeah.
But nobody knows. It's kind of semi-secret, you know.
Yes.
And it's fascinating because living in Koh Phangan, I do have the opportunity to meet people that have kind of very niche knowledge about all sorts of things that are fascinating, that are actually there on the internet to be seen, even on books, etc., that have been studied to a certain extent, and that nobody knows anything about. And that's really fascinating, you know. Even something like that, what you're telling me now, you know, I think a normal sort of conventional reaction would be one of great skepticism, right?
Yes.
But then, you know, your experience is validated, you know. I validate your experience because, you know, you had this experience directly. You've done studies, you've done research.
Yes.
You spent a lot more than 5 minutes, you know, studying about the afterlife, and of course hypnotherapy and psychology before, etc. So there's a lot of like focus that you put onto this subject.
There is no end to learning, you know, and maybe even when we go on the other side, I don't think everything is given to us in the pill, you know. I think when we go there, I think the journey kind of continues a little bit, you know, from a different perspective, of course, but I don't think this is the end, you know. So I think it's just continuation, infinite learning and experiencing, you know.
Cool. Life is such a mystery, you know. I always say, you know, birth is a mystery, death is a mystery. Everything in between is a scientific certainty, you know. It's a bit of a joke.
Exactly.
But you know, ultimately we have to enjoy life, go through it, and connect with you know, all the elements of life that for some people, of course, include a rich spiritual life too.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, because you know we are spirit, fair enough, but we are also body and we are also mind. So, you know, to understand your mind is really, really important, you know, to then experience anything more than that. Because otherwise, when our mind interferes all the time, it's very difficult to connect, you know. And as I've told you, I've been master of disconnecting, so I know exactly how to do that. So, you know, it's important. So all those things needs to really like work together. I feel, for example, at this moment in time, I think my body is like catching up with where I'm going spiritually, you know. It's like everything needs to integrate, you know. Sometimes, you know, I try to do things a little bit maybe too quick, then my body can really do. So, you know, it's like, it's a journey where we need to really harmonize everything and integrate everything.
Obviously, now you've been in Koh Phangan for quite a while. Of course, I remember you from our musical show, because you were part of the musical show, like maybe a couple of years ago. And you mentioned also that you were doing some business in Bangkok.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, I'd like to ask you, why do you still love Thailand, and particularly Koh Phangan? And what is sort of what are your activities on the island?
Okay. So, why do I love Koh Phangan and Thailand? I love it because I feel, you know, my life was like about traveling. So the last few years, I was like travel a lot. I felt like at home in every port, but I really didn't feel like I wanted to stay anywhere for longer. And when I arrived here, I was like, yeah, this is my home. I want to stay here. And I was like doing anything, whatever I needed to do to really stay here. And it was very difficult because at the beginning, you know, when the office was open in Bangkok, it was quite difficult to even ask to be able to live in Koh Phangan and to work in Bangkok, you know. But then, you know, modern world and remote working and all of that made sense. So I managed to do that, and I was really, really.
So you were still working for this
yes.
this company in the UK?
So since 2018, I was still working, working for that company until I think July 2022. And then I decided to, because, you know, that was the time when they wanted me to be back in the UK, and I was definitely not ready to go back to UK. So I was like, okay, so what I need to do? So I opened my own company here, and now I help conscious businesses most of the time to really prepare them for their main retailers, audits, because that's my skill.
So retail is what you like, yeah, what you do.
Yes, so I do know about many requirements and codes of practice and legality and compliance for most of the major retailers in the world, because that's how I was working before. And then this knowledge now is very useful for the businesses that wants to enter with the first contract with Mark & Spencer. So I can help them to understand how Mark & Spencer works, you know, what they need to do.
So that somebody can develop a product and then sell it, like as in sell it through Marks and Spencer supermarkets in the UK.
Yes. So, you know, I will be like preparing businesses before even Mark and Spencer will come and actually see these businesses. I can teach them what they will be looking at, because I already learned this relationship. Sure. I've been on the other side.
So that's something like, that's the more normal stuff, like basically conventional stuff that is still going on, but then you're adapting it to conscious businesses on the islands.
Yes, and not only on the island, it's more really international, because I do some stuff online as well, and teaching, lots of teaching, PowerPoint presentations and teaching people about different requirements and stuff like that. I do that as well. And I enjoy it because, you know, now it's very nice because many businesses are into, you know, cleaning the ocean, environmental stuff, sustainability, you know, ethical, and you know, they're really working towards making this world a better place. And for me to use the skills that I had for the last 20 years to really help someone to develop into that, it makes sense. So I'm still doing that, because otherwise, you know, it will be a waste of that. But also I'm thinking about my own projects. So I'm really into water and trying to develop a posh water line. And cool. I'm not sure when this happens, how this will happen, because there's many things happening at this moment in time. But that's one of the plans. Let's see what will happen.
How about the spiritual counseling in Koh Phangan? You're going to do some of it? Or?
This is something that I do every single day for the last, I don't know how many years, but yeah, I do that every single day. And so the offer there is like hypnotherapy. I call it subconscious realignment. So I work with people that consciously want to get rid of something, and consciously they're aware that these habits are not really good for them and they want to get rid of them. But so then I help to update their subconscious mind to really support what they want to do on the conscious level, you know. So it's called subconscious realignment. So I do that, but I also, for the spiritual counseling, I do psychic readings, and I use many different tools. I use tarot cards, I use runic alphabet, and I use oracle cards. I also developed the oracle cards with one of our amazing artists here on the island, Pamela, and we're developing the new oracle deck as well, so that's really exciting. So yeah, many things. But what else is there in the service? I also run a soul therapy, which is, I work with many people so far, and we managed to make like a program that is very specific for the person. So 6 or 8 weeks of like more soulful life. So I will give people like tasks to do, you know, visualization boards, and helping them so they can call me anytime during the week, or whatever they're going through. And beautiful things happen during that as well, you know, people changing their jobs, you know, entering amazing relationships, you know, many things happen.
So you help them to develop their soul, right? Doing soulful things.
Yes,
Wow.
doing soulful things, you know, so I call it
love
soul
that.
therapy. Of course, soul doesn't need a therapy, but it's like, I didn't know all
I
the
know exactly
nonsense
what you
about
mean.
that,
I
but
mean, at the end of a 10-day corporate job that you hate, your soul is very small and diminished.
disconnected.
Disconnected.
Completely.
Yes,
So I know
okay.
exactly, you know, from my own experience.
Yes,
how
whilst
that
if
is.
you go to the waterfall here in Koh Phangan for a couple of hours, you feel soulful, and then you can hug a dog, or you know, play with a
Exactly.
cat, or have like children around, or like you know, just a beautiful connection with somebody.
Exactly.
That creates
So-
so much soul energy, isn't it?
So, and you're asking, you know, why you love Koh Phangan, you know, for that exactly, you know. I love this thing that you can wake up every single morning, you can go into nature, you can just jump into the waterfall or to the sea and then start your day, you know. Or like, and soul tribe, soul family, you know.
Soul family.
Place where you can just be yourself, you know. Doesn't matter who you are, how you are. This is you, that's okay. It's fine.
Acceptance and inclusion.
Acceptance, you know, inclusion, exactly. This is all people need, right? To be part of the tribe.
Indeed, indeed. Well, Joanna, thank you very much for sharing, as your story is very fascinating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the interview.
Kapung
Kapung ka.
kap.